record in here. I am clicking record in the audio. And you are good to go.
Cool. All right, we're live. It's the Human Condition. I'm Vince Orlando.
I'm Sean Davis.
How's it going, Sean?
It's going pretty good. How you doing?
Man, I woke up this morning, eyes all scratchy, and it's not a symptom of the corona, but the immediate thought is the coronavirus got me. It got me, and it didn't. My cat wanted to sleep on my pillow, brand new sheets, and so I've had scratchy eyes all day. But
You been to Walmart lately?
I haven't. I try not to go there normally.
Yeah. If someone sneezes in Walmart, it's like a whole.
Dude, I won't.
It's all fucked up, dog. It's all fucked up.
So we're still pretty active working. I am anyway. I'm always in the office every day. Pretty much, I'm in the office. Almost every day, I'm at the bank. So I go to the bank today, and they have, there's a line outside the bank because only 3 people can be in the line at a time. Everyone's got masks on except for me and there's one other guy. And and I'm looking around and I start to feel like I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
I started, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm not going into this place, and I'm not. If I'm sneezing, if I'm coughing, if I'm sniffling, I'm not going in public. I'm just not, considering the conditions right now. But I started to feel a little bit bad. I'm like, because one older gentleman parked in his minivan. He's like, they're not going to let you talk to a teller without a mask on. And I'm like, well, they do every day. He said, nope, I'm not going to do it. So I talked to security, and security said, yeah, you can talk to the teller. You're fine. It's a strange environment out there right now. I'm not concerned myself about catching it. I may have already had it.
I think a lot of us already had it. I think Corona was here like middle of February, because I know some people that got sick that were just down.
Well, there was a big.
Right.
So you guys saw the news that broke today, yes? Out of Silicon Valley?
Which one?
So they announced that they finally did autopsies on some of the older bodies that they had, and said the first death was no later than February 9th currently.
Yeah. No, I did see that. Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me. Because you have to make there has to be somebody who's symptomatic for them to even latch onto. And supposedly it was this gentleman in China, right, where it's like, oh shit, that's where the oh shit bell went off. And this was back in November, December of 19.
Yeah.
So the first person that they knew to be symptomatic, but it's a virus, dude. Once it gets in you, it sits dormant till it gets to host cells, and then works its way to the next host cell and the next host cell, and when it gets to the lungs, that's when the oh shit bell goes off.
That's why I do the cardio 4 times a week. I bought a juicer like a month ago, and just been experimenting with like beet, carrot, apple, spinach, ginger, turmeric. I'll make a whole different kind of concoction.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the shit will open your eyes right away.
What, the concoction?
Yeah. It's instant. It's like boom.
You just drank something.
Yeah, you just drank some fucking straight fruit vegetable juice, And I don't know, my immune system was always pretty good. I wear the mask just because, I don't want no one else to feel uncomfortable.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't really rock the gloves very hard, but I'll wear the mask and do that and be real courteous and stuff, because I do go to the store a lot. I do go to the grocery store quite a bit.
You brought me this one mask right here that I haven't worn, and I was thinking in line today, and this is a good segue into our episode, because we're talking about social responsibility, right? And service is taking it a step further, but I'm thinking I should have wore that mask just so I don't scare the rest of the, because I'm fairly educated on on viruses in general, but this one in particular, because I did research for our episode, and I'm just curious. I want to know the truth. I'm not listening to sound bites that I'm not left, right, whatever, make it political, do all that. I don't give a shit. Let me find out what's really going on and just for my own knowledge. And so I don't have my kids. I can tell my kids the truth, and they can, so I started thinking, well, just social responsibility includes you don't want to rock the boat. The ego in me would say, well, I don't need that shit. I don't need that shit. You're not the boss of me. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about it. I'm not coming in here coughing. I'm not
I
gonna
have a hard time following instructions.
Yeah, and so, but I was thinking, well, maybe just keep that with me, just even if it is just for show.
I ride mine rides like shotgun, dude. I got a couple of them on.
You ever see the people that are driving with the mask
Oh,
on?
yeah.
What are you doing? Get that mask off. What are you? It's.
I don't drive with that fucker on, but
I'm hoping that's not the new normal. You know what I mean? Once we get,
might be for a while.
Well, it's gonna be. It's gonna be. It probably should be until we get the vaccine. But social responsibility. This keeps coming up in my group therapy. In my group therapy, there's people at extreme different levels of growth, right? We're all, which is cool because you get to, for me, it's a reminder of the place that I came from as it pertains to PTSD and the extreme effects of that, and where I am now. So I get to see where the growth lies. I get to see how people that are at, in more of a stuck place, how they can still trigger me into a defensive mode because I've said something that they don't like because they don't want to hear that there's a path forward. They're not ready yet. But one thing that keeps coming to the surface for me when I'm asked, what is this whole thing, this whole pandemic in the lockdown, what are you getting out of this? How's it making you feel? For me, I'm feeling a greater sense of social responsibility. Most definitely. And I can attribute that to, where I am in terms of, Buddhist practices and unity practices. I mean, and 12-step practices. We're taught service and, but this right here, and I still remember when I had the epiphany at my mom and dad's house at his birthday. And I, I went in there with the cocky attitude. I'm not going to get it. If I do get it, I'm going to live through it. I'll be okay. I really wasn't thinking that maybe I could be carrying this into my parents' house, who both have COPD. They might not be okay,
Yeah.
And so that's when the epiphany happened, and ever since then I've been thinking in terms of, well, this is not about me. It's about the ways in which we interact with our environment and the effects that we have on one another, because we are connected at a deep level, even though we live in the illusion of separateness. We're extremely, extremely connected. So that's when the lesson changed to my kids. Because at first, well, why do my kids? The kids aren't going to be symptomatic, right? Why do they have to be out of school? Well, they can transmit it. Right. They can bring it to grandma and grandpa. You know what I mean? So this whole thing for me has been an exercise in social responsibility. And the bank today was another example of that. I continue getting these lessons to where it's like, well, it's not about me. The guy who was in the minivan, me 3-4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I might have taken that personally. I might have gotten defensive about that and get argumentative. No, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like just some asshole shit. Not really asshole, but just I was defensive. My gut response to everything was somebody's trying to put me down or insult me, or you know what I mean? That's not what was happening. You have a guy who's in the age bracket that is at risk, sitting in his minivan with his mask on, and here I am standing out here. His
perception is probably completely different.
Concerned guy. Yeah. So I had to take that into account. That's what I'm getting from this. Is like, we do affect the environment around us. And I can't say, like, I didn't get into it, but I was talking to my friend today, and avid Trump supporter, and along with that comes the minimizing of the pandemic, right? With most of them, and he starts spouting these numbers out to me, and talking about how it's bullshit. I'm like, dude. So all I had to do was send him a link, and this Johns Hopkins link has up to the date. Yeah. I mean, here's the numbers. You want the numbers? That's the numbers. Deaths cases per country. Look at it. You know what I mean? Nothing else really has to be said. And then he started pulling information from a textbook, and And I'm like, why are you trying to defend this? I mean, people are dying. Let's get off the numbers thing. And did the media sensationalize it? Yeah, I think they did at first. And did the politicians minimize it at first? Yes, they did. Where's the truth? Somewhere in between. And the truth now is people are dying. So how are we not responsible as fellow human beings for that? I just don't know how we can deny responsibility.
Look,
I know how we can. We should.
You got to understand that everyone's at their own level.
Yeah,
Everyone's got their own level of fear. There's some people that I know that when this quarantine happened, I figured that they won't have no problem with this. They're strong individuals, no problem. They're like freaking out because like they just not their mind isn't cool with the way that this is, and then one of my boys, he came down to do an estimate on my boy's house, and he's like, shit, man, if you've been locked up, you don't have no problem with this shit. And like, I was like, that's an interesting point of view. I was like, because like I don't do like a whole lot of quarantine type shit. I'm still working out 4 or 5 days a week. I go to the grocery store, I hang out at my pop's house, I wear a mask out there. This is the time when you can really make a change. We can really change something because people are like, oh, it's going to go back to normal.
Please don't.
Normal. Please don't say that. It's like, normal wasn't all that great.
Normal's what got us here.
And normal ain't going to suffice when this is all over. And so, it was like the first day of the quarantine, man. There was this guy and his wife. You could tell, like, he worked for, like, waste management or something. Still in his work gear with his wife. They had 2 carts completely full. And, like, I only had, like, 3 things to buy from the grocery store, but I was cool with it. I'm in no hurry. Everything's good. And man, like they were like $5 short. Like he was counting out his cash. He's like $5 short. And like, man, I just pulled the 5 like right out. I was like, dude, I got it. And he looked at me like, what the, like, really? I'm like, man, dude, it's all good. I'm like, what you gonna do? Like, start taking stuff off?
Yeah.
Like, no, man. Dude, it's good. Don't worry about nothing. And they were just so grateful. And like, it's like I didn't really do that to like
feel good.
I did it because like I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been that guy. And like, my ass would have been too prideful to take the 5. I would have been like, no, let me take some stuff off and all this bullshit. But man, it was, dude, like these are the opportunities that we have. Like, I'm really grateful and blessed that I still can work right now. I got paycheck coming in. I know there's a lot of people that aren't working. I try to reach out to any of them. Do you need anything? Can I help you? What do you need? You need me to take you to the grocery store? Like, I have no problem like doing that. And, people are suffering and people are afraid and people are fearful, and you have the media, both sides. You have both Republican and Democrat.
You got the left, you got the right, you got the media, and they're all feeding something.
It's all fucked up and it's all smoke and mirrors. And the thing is, look, this shit's gonna kill a lot of people. It's probably not gonna go away for a while. You can close down states, open up states. It really doesn't much fucking matter because, tell you the truth, the way that I see this in the articles I've read was that this is just going to have to work itself through the planet and those that are remaining.
Well, to a certain extent, because that's the thing. That's where social responsibility comes into play because, the government, this was a socially responsible act. Now, there's studies that I've read that, look, this was more of a financial decision than it was a socially responsible decision on the government's part from the point of shutting down the economy. So if we were to let the virus run its course, the estimate on the number of lives that we would lose is roughly 2% of the population, the global population. So we're looking at about 170 to 200 million people in an age bracket, which would be devastating to the economy. From an insurance standpoint, big insurance, they had the third largest GDP behind the U.S. and Japan. They're their own country, right? So if you were to let that many people die in that age bracket within a year's time, the lasting economic effects of that, as opposed to what they're doing now, would be far greater. So people shouldn't get too excited in that the government is altruistic, right? Because there was a financial decision made here, and it's like, no, we shut it down now, and we deal with it up front. But regardless, it's still socially responsible, because what it's going to do, here's the thing: if we didn't do something to limit the spread, because that's all we can do right now. We can't do anything to stop it because we don't have a vaccine. Most of us will survive. That's the absolute truth. Most of us will survive. Kids will be fine. Our bodies will work up an immunity to it. But those that are predisposed to these lung conditions, there's not enough ventilators in the world to go around, so they're going to die. It's just going to happen. They're already having to make choices in hospitals and who gets what. Yeah. God choice, you know what I mean? It's scary. So just imagine if we wouldn't have done something to limit the spread, where the numbers would be right now. It would be outlandish, and there would be a lot more deaths. There would be a lot more fear. So I think we're doing the right thing. Is it I don't know what else we can do. Like it's here. You know what I mean? It's here. So now you have to do. So I think this is the socially responsible thing to do.
I know, but you can't close down the economy for the entire time that it works itself through. You know,
you can't, but you have to be socially responsible.
Yeah, but the government is completely fucking up and dropping the ball. You know, like $1,200 ain't gonna do shit for the bartender. You know,
all the money went to the corporations.
Right, and small business loans went to the big businesses.
To the corporations. That shit was divvied out before it even went.
I know some of my friends that are small business owners that are like, dude, I didn't even want to fuck with that loan. I told my guys to just go file for unemployment. If you need help, I'll get you help doing it on the computer and shit, because that's a fucking joke too.
I gave my guys the option.
And, you know, like, I mean, it's just.
But that's a different thing.
You know what I mean? The bipartisan bullshit is fucking everything up. Because, like, everyone is just so dug in on their political positions that it's all about grandstanding and bullshit. You really need to let that shit go. There's a fucking pandemic. Ante the fuck up. Make sure your fucking citizens got whatever they need. Do what you can. And, like, you know, like, let's roll.
Well, and, you know, that's what I'm on like 3 of these Zooms a day, right? Like this is the new thing. Whoever, I was talking about my boy today, who was a naysayer in the numbers until I gave it to him. He has stock in Zoom, so he's benefiting, right? Zoom's going through the roof. So I have like 3 of these Zoom calls a day, and they're all on, you know, growth and empowerment, and it's just a way to connect and not feel so isolated in these times of isolation. But I was telling somebody, I'm like, you know what? I'm not fearful at all. I'm going to live my life regardless. I'm going to power through this in whatever way I need to, and I'll take my lumps however I have to, and I'll do whatever's best for the good of the person next to me, right?
Well, it's my time to go. It's my time to go.
And I'll roll with it. But if there is any fear in this, it's that if humanity can't come together behind this common enemy, right? Because this enemy right here, it's a virus. It's not even a living thing. There's no biomass to it. You can't kill it. You can only fight against it. It can't be killed. It doesn't live. And there's no rhyme or reason for why it recodes cells the way it does when it finds a host cell. It just does it. It's just not that it lives from it. It's just, it's a weird fucking thing. Yeah. Viruses are just strange, but they exist. So there's no discrimination. It doesn't matter what country you're from, doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter what color, sexuality, doesn't matter your social standing, does not fucking matter. We're all susceptible in the same way. You get it, you're gonna live or you're gonna die. You know what I mean? And that's just the bottom line. So if we can't, as a human race, unite behind this one thing, I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you said, get the partisan bullshit out of here. Like, this thing is gonna affect.
Because it starts with your government. because the people are watching the television.
True.
And those that are aligned with their political party is going to stick with the party. And then, like, you're still divided. You're going to be divided when you're all dying. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. People in both that identify with both those political parties are both fucking dying.
Well, my buddy today, Fox News facts. That's where he gets his facts, Fox News. So I was talking to another guy online, a friend of mine from the old neighborhood, and you know, I don't get angry anymore. I don't feel the need to win a debate. I don't have to. It's not about winning or losing. It's about having a conversation. And I like being challenged. And it's great if I have some facts that I can provide somebody that they can benefit from. It's great if they can provide me with facts that I can benefit from. I'm not right all the time. I know that. So on occasion, what I've noticed is I have more time now to actually have some back and forth with people on Facebook. Usually I'll drop my little thing and then I'm gone, right? I don't have time to respond to everything that comes in, but here's my thing. I'm just going to leave it here.
Does the fear factor really even come into you at all with this shit?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. The sympathy and empathy, compassion, because I don't feel that, honestly, my business could go south any day, like just like that. I don't control what's going on in the economy. Like it could happen. It hasn't, you know what I mean? But I'm not afraid of it. I will deal with it. I've had worse things happen to me in my life. I've come through worse. And that's where I think that, you know, and we were talking about this in meditation the other night, last night. Like, so people that have gone through trauma and they wind up in 12-step groups, or they wind up in Buddhist groups or whatever, they wind up seeking these tools to alter their frame of existence because the way that they were living, it just doesn't work. So the things that we've gone through that put us into these different places that have allowed us to step outside of our old selves and grow, we have far more tools at our disposal than the person who's lived pretty comfortably. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like right now, people who believed in the government, believed in the economy, I've never believed in those things. I've never. I mean, even as a freshman in college, majoring in finance and international business, I'm arguing with professors like, this is bullshit. Who's making these up? You know what I mean? Like, I've never believed in it. But if I had not gone through the traumas that I'd gone through and had the self-realizations that I've had, I don't know that I'd be as equipped to deal with what I'm dealing with.
I don't think so at all, you know. I mean,
when you said the fear factor thing, that's what I'm thinking. No, it doesn't affect us in the same way.
Like, I just am watching this, and, you know, my heart goes out to the first responders and the nurses and the doctors, and, you know, how they're separated from their kids because they don't want to infect the kids and all this stuff. And then you see, like, the virus taking out, like, 4 members in one family.
Yeah.
You know, my heart really goes out to that. But, like, as I'm experiencing this, like, you know, it is what it is. Like, it's here. What you gonna do? I'm gonna make sure I take care of myself, do the social distancing, wear the fucking mask, you know, do what I do. And, like, I'll be honest, like, try not to say this too loudly, but I'm absolutely loving the fucking quarantine.
Oh, no one's watching. Don't worry.
I love not having to drive to work. You know, like, it's an hour to work and it's an hour back. Like, to, like, just wake up and, like, roll out and throw, like, got a Zoom meeting from 10 to 12, and, like, I'm like, this
all
is
on growth, all on growth, self-help.
I'm like, this is great, you know, and, like, chill. I'm gonna leave the meeting for a minute while I go back, and then, like, boom, like, you know, it's just it's just completely different. And then I go work out, and then I go to the grocery store. I stop by my pops, and I'll watch the news with my pops. My pops is a CNN, MSNBC kind of guy, and it's just funny to watch this shit go on, and all the bickering and all the bullshit and all the they didn't do this and there wasn't enough ventilators and blah blah blah. You know, like, stop the grandstanding. You do what you gotta do, you know. And, like, I don't know, when the president was like, "Oh, states, why don't you just go figure it out for yourself?" I was like, what the fuck is that?
he flip-flops every day, though, because now he's saying, well, we might consider charges against the state if they do it wrong. Didn't you just tell them you're on your own? What the fuck are you talking about, man?
I don't know. I was like, they rely on you. Like, you're part of the government. Like, you're the federal government.
You're the president, dude.
Tell the states to go fend for themselves. Oh, that's some fucked up shit.
But then if you don't do it right, we're gonna press charges.
Right. If you don't open up the economy, U.S. attorneys.
That part is a clusterfuck, and I try not to get involved in those conversations.
It's all third dimensional bullshit.
It is. It's a different level of consciousness.
So I'm up here. I'm probably a fourth, fifth in between, and I really just look down on this stuff. And I just have to do it from like an observation standpoint.
It has to be observation. It can't be judgmental.
And I'm not much into the judging, but I'll tell you with this quarantine also, man, I've been able to do so much like inner spiritual work. It's unreal.
Well, you've been to treatment, right?
Oh yeah.
So I liked when I was in treatment. I liked the fact that I could go in there for a month. I didn't know nobody was relying on me for anything. Right. It was very selfish.
Yeah.
I got to read 3 books a day. You know what I mean? I fucking loved it. I was like, man, I wish I could be in treatment all the time.
All the time.
You know, but not. You know, I love my kids. I love the people that do rely on me and that I'm able to be there for them. But it, you know, I think everybody needs that moment to recharge, you know. But the difference between treatment and quarantine is that you still have this fucking TV, you know what I mean? You still have those sound bites, you still have the internet, you still have these distractions. Yeah. So you're in this space where you can actually grow, where you can learn to be more socially responsible, where you can learn to be more caring for yourself, because when you're caring for yourself, that the effects of that are going to start to trickle down to the universe around you. And people can't, because they're still distracted, because they're still getting fed the bullshit.
Have you seen the Facebook shit?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I battle every day.
There's
a battle every day.
I don't see too much of it. I don't know whose that is. I don't think. Right, it doesn't matter. So, social responsibility. Well, you said something about the being compassionate for the workers, and I was at Kroger. I go almost every day. It's just a thing. I don't get enough groceries because I like to. It's kind of my thing. I'll stop on the way from the office and grab just a few things and interact a little bit. I like to see what's going on. And it was on my daughter's birthday, and I hadn't, like, the thought of birthday wasn't even in my head. But I knew it was coming, and I was scrambling with what we're gonna do. Obviously, we can't have our friends over, so we wound up doing a Zoom thing, and I had to get a last-minute cake. And this is me still in the pre-quarantine thinking mode. There's gonna be a cake there, and there was, but nothing's written on it, right? And so anyway, I go there and I say, yeah, I need a cake for my daughter's birthday. Really don't need one of these big ones because it's just us and it's just gonna go to waste. So this lady, she's like, well, I'll move all these things around. And I'm like, can I pay you to write Happy Birthday, Sophia? And she's like, you don't have to pay me. And, so while she's doing all this, we're having a conversation. Somebody just died not that long ago at that Kroger. Somebody passed away from coronavirus. And, we're talking. She's like, yeah, and Kroger's really good about wiping things down. And I saw in her eyes, she's like, because I talked about the epiphany I had at my parents' house and how I started to understand that it's not really about me, it's about who I affect. And she was in the age bracket, right?
Yeah.
And there was a young kid back there that was working with her, and I just saw her, I saw her heart drop, and I got real sympathetic to the fact that she just had an understanding of what I was saying, and I think to go out there on the front lines, you have to be deluded somewhat, and that it's not going to affect you. Yeah. It's like anything where you go into it, you got to puff your chest out, and you're going into battle, right? And in that moment, I could see that she felt that maybe it could come to me. So she got done with the cake, and all I had was $2 in my pocket. I wanted to tip her. I'm like, I can't tip her that. Get to the front, and I do the self-checkout thing, and I check out, and I meant to grab. I was going to grab a 20 out of the cash, whatever, advanced or whatever it's called. I don't know what you
Cash
call
back.
it. Cash bag.
Cash
So I forgot to do it, and I start to walk away. I'm like, I got to get to the next place mentality in me kicked in, and I started to walk away. I'm like, fuck are you doing? Go back there and get a pack of gum and get $20 off, and you go back there. And so I did it, and but my gut reaction was, I got to get to the party that's not happening because it's Zoom, and so I do that, and I grab the 20, and I go back there, and I went back to the counter. I'm like, here's for you and him, and it's not much, but get you guys some lunch, and I appreciate what you're doing, and I got a little teary-eyed because she got teary-eyed. I'm like, oh shit, and I wasn't planning on this type of interaction, but it let me know that I don't know that people are showing their appreciation as much because
I tip like a motherfucker.
It was a real moment, and it made me understand that, look, when I'm out there, I need to thank people that they're literally putting their lives on the line. You're in the age bracket, you know what I mean? You're standing here with a mask, hoping that's going to do its thing, and but you're out here, and why are you out here? It's probably not. A lot of the medical workers, it's out of the goodness of their heart. Some of them have time they could take off, and they're out there battling.
Yeah.
Some people, they just don't have the money. They don't have the ability to step away from the weekly paycheck, and they're out there, and man, it'll bring you to your knees if that's the shit I think about right now. And we have to do our best to be there for each other, and that's all there is to it. What else? What the fuck else is there?
I don't know. When this all happened, and I saw all these restaurants that were closing, but we're gonna do carry out only.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely cook for myself, and so I just, I try to give them as much business as I can. I tip heavy. And dude, this is for you. My dad wanted me to go grab some food from Arby's one day. I gave the lady at the drive-through window $5 because she's working. She's here doing this, providing this for all those that are quarantined, and who knows what is going on in her life. She might have 3 kids at home, and the eldest is watching the kids, and
real life shit, not media shit,
right.
not politician shit, real life shit. This is the real life shit that's happening right now.
So I just make sure you always let people know how much you appreciate what they're doing.
And that's the takeaway here. That honestly, and I feel that's socially responsible too. There's corporate social responsibility. We failed miserably. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at what's happened to the planet. And if you want to go back to coronavirus, everyone's got their conspiracy. Not everybody, but conspiracy theorists have their conspiracies. Number one, there's 1 million viruses known, over 1 million viruses known. Only 5,000 of which have been detailed. Coronavirus was one. Most of the coronaviruses that are known have been detailed. This was one of them. We knew about this. So people that are saying, oh, it was manufactured, you don't need to manufacture a fucking virus in a lab. Go pluck one from the environment and transfer it to a human, and it's done. You know what I mean? So get that out of your head. But in reality, most science says that this was transferred from the boxcar bat in China. For that to have happened, the environmental footprint had to be so bad that this bat, who has a body temperature that is through the roof twice a day because it's in flight twice a day, to where it wouldn't become symptomatic. If it evolved in this bat, it evolved to very high body temperatures. That's why it's hard for a human to dispel this virus before it works its magic on the lungs. So the bat isn't going to be symptomatic because its body temperature is high enough to where it doesn't get stressed out and have to dispel the virus. But when you stress the boxcar bat out and you take over as human beings its environment, you pollute the environment, the bat can't find food. Well, now you put it into a stressful situation. Its immune system drops, kind of like a human with a cold sore. And now there's a there's a physical outward manifestation of this virus. Now it's contagious. And could the transfer from bat to human have happened in this environment? Absolutely. You know, it's absolutely. Could it have been manipulated by some mad scientist who wanted to spread the virus? Sure, it could have been that too. You know, and I'm not opposed to either, but science and logic points to the fact that it was transferred from this bat to a human in a distressed environment. And it just goes to show that, I mean, you know, as much as you don't want to say that we're at fault for some of these things, we are. You know, like where do we take our social responsibility in all of this? And yeah, we can't change the course of what's happened now, but we can prevent it from happening again by being a little more socially responsible. You fuck the environment up when you put shit into it. You know what I mean? You just did. This is basic physics, dude. Like, how do people deny this shit and say that I'm not responsible because I got to make this money and this is more important? Like, rush the economy open. The fucking people that are saying, you know, I know the people I know would willingly sacrifice to open the economy. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Because I'm not sacrificing my parents for your dumbass or the economy. You know what I mean? Or anybody else's parents. Yeah, like, fuck you. And I would sacrifice these, like, zero social responsibility. Open the economy.
My baby tackle shop is an essential business.
It's an essential bitch. And we got to get. I mean, you know, that's stereotypical, but it's like, come on, man. Like, where in this do we grasp onto humanity and say, look, I'm willing to suffer.
You're keeping me from my boat.
You're keeping me from my. But look, what's the definition of compassion? The literal definition of compassion is to sit in suffering with another. So if this time right now doesn't call for that more than in any part of human history that I've lived through, you know what I mean? Like, if this doesn't call for that compassion, like, that's the action call right now, compassion. And in compassion lies social responsibility, because in compassion, what do? You sit in suffering with another.
I think the majority of people on the planet haven't been compassionate in a long time.
So here's the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. Here, look, you are connected.
I don't even think they know how.
Right.
I don't even think they know how.
That's true, and that's true.
Yeah.
And people that do know how. Not saying I'm a pro at it either, but here's our learning opportunity. Let's not point fingers at each other and say you're doing this wrong or right or whatever. Let's try to figure this out as a collective, because the enemy is common. We're fighting this. This is like if aliens invaded the planet Earth. I bet you all borders go away. Yeah. And every military on the face of the planet, we all come together to fight this one common enemy. Why is it different? Because it's a virus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, why haven't the walls come down and let's get together on this? Why are we still doing dumb shit?
A lot of people have forgotten the phrases. Is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah, it's simple, but that'll change the world.
Yeah,
saying that once a day.
Is there anything I can do to help? Do you need anything? Is there any way I can help you out? You know, are you okay? You don't look okay. Are you okay? Something I can do? Shit like that will go a long way.
Honestly, man, if every
to
person
strangers, not to like
without, I don't want anything in return.
Right, with nothing in return. You know, we are all interconnected. We all are on the same planet, and we all have a different journey and a different purpose. Why not help each other out?
I don't think you have to be a religious person to see that the universe is spoken, God, universe, creator. If you're a physicist and an atheist and you believe in the Big Bang, there's still this source, this singularity that we all came from. Like, there's quantum entanglement. It doesn't matter what realm of other than an atheist who believes in absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? Unless you're somebody who understands physics as an atheist, then, well, you got to believe in that at least. You know, the science of that, the interconnection and quantum entanglement. Like, there's no doubt that what we do on a daily basis affects the next person. Now we're being shown from the universe, from God, the creator, whatever you want to call this thing, Like, here's how interconnected you are. If you don't wear a mask, you could likely infect somebody that could kill somebody that day. Like, that's how interconnected you are. Yes, this started in China. Look how quickly it's, and was it present before? Probably. You know what I mean? And did it take a while for somebody to become symptomatic for the bell to go off? Yes, it did. But look how fast this travels. You know what I mean? Because we're all connected. Like, and now we got this thing that's traveling through us because it doesn't care who we are. It doesn't care the race. It doesn't care the social standing. It doesn't care about any of that. It's just a thing, a weird fucking thing that does what it does. It's not even alive, that you can't kill. You know?
Yeah.
What can I do for you? Like you said, what can I do for you?
You need help? You know, like, I think people have been just so self-absorbed with the bullshit that's on, number one, the TV and social media.
Well, in their situation,
that they're in their situation,
which you got to be sympathetic to.
True, you know. But like, if you see someone in need, you know, like, you see a car accident, don't you fucking stop? I stop.
Well, it depends. If there's 4 or 5 cars, it depends.
Like,
but if I'm the first, yes, I'm there.
It's like we're all in a car accident.
Right now.
So you're out of your car.
Pile up. It's a pile up.
And guess what, man? I got out of my car and like, safety belt did what it was supposed to do.
I'm walking. I'm good.
I'm good. Everything's good. Who can I help next?
Yep.
Who needs what?
Yeah.
You know,
now's not the time to worry about my car getting hit by another car. No. Like, I got to come check on the people.
Thing is, you know, someone said that this whole thing is like a natural selection. You know, that like those, you know, you have to, you know, it's like the animal kingdom. They all live through natural selection.
See, now you can look at that in 2 ways, because maybe it is. So maybe it's to see who's going to rise to the task of compassion.
Yeah.
And who's not. And the people who, you know, and Christ said the meek will inherit the earth. And this is, I'm not a religious guy, but I believe in a lot of the spiritual teachings, and I study them all. And the meek will inherit the earth. So who's willing to come sit in suffering with their fellow human right now? You know, because you can look at it in the alternative. Well, the strong will survive. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, the strong will survive. Who's the strong? The people that are out there living in fear right now. The economy's collapsing, and all. Look, I've lived in dirt poor poverty, and I'm okay. You know what I mean? And I'll live in it again if I have to, and I'll be okay. And my kids will be okay. We'll suffer. You know, and maybe we won't. But I'm not going to live in fear of that. Like, every decision that's being made right now is fear-based. If you can't see that everything that's being shoved down your throat is from the standpoint of fear, then you're living in a state of consciousness that does not serve you.
The law of abundance and manifestation. You know, if you remove the lack in those teachings, and you believe, like, I have infinite amount of money, that
even if you don't,
my universe is going to take care of me no matter what, if I am doing my part, being of service and helping, and, you know, helping those around me in need. You know, it's funny because, like, I'm dropping a lot of loot. I've been making sure everyone's taken care of, tipping heavy, all this shit, and it's like my bank account looks better than it ever has. And that's and it's like, oh, what's that dude's name? Butterworth. Eric Butterworth.
yeah.
Man, he came to Renaissance Unity one time, and he had these unexpected income bank boxes. And on the box, it had a quote about, I forget how it goes, but it was somewhat to the fact, like, realizing that your abundance is infinite, and operating from that. you're going to be always taken care of.
And you can take that a step further too, because what faith says that, well, my ego would like me to be financially secure. I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to lose my vehicles. I don't want to lose my business. I don't want to lose any of this. But if I do, I have to find something in that says that it's for my highest good.
Right.
And I have to navigate through that. So I'm not saying that I'm impervious to the effects of any of this. I'm very much vulnerable in a lot of ways. And I don't like that. My ego definitely doesn't like that. But I have to sit here, and if I'm a man of faith, in whatever spiritual tradition that may be, or just faith in the universe, and that, you know, it's not here to work against me. I don't live in fear. I don't live in lack and limitation. I say, bring it in. Whatever happens, I'm going to find a way to make this a lesson for my greater good, and I'm going to power through it. And in the interim, while I'm doing this, I'm going to look out for the people that are next to me, because I believe that's where the meat is, right? That's where the gold is. It's in service to one another. Like all spiritual traditions talk about service. How do people get out of, you know, with AA and NA? How do you get yourself out of that before you can actually believe in yourself? You serve others who have suffered in a similar fashion. Like that's the goal. Like, and when people start understanding that the true wealth lies in our availability to other human beings who are suffering, because I suffer. I don't suffer. I feel pain, and I navigate my way through it. But because I don't suffer in the way that I used to, does it mean it's over for me? No, I gotta go back. Like this woman that was in my therapy group, she did not want to hear about a path forward. She got pissed. She wound up leaving the group. I don't know if it was because of me, but she didn't like hearing about the non-attachment and these principles. And the gut response in me is to get defensive because somebody is dismissing what I'm saying. But I was able to turn that around and say, no, I've been where you've been, and I know what it is to be in that deep, dark depression. And you don't want to hear anybody talking about that there's a path forward, that there's a benefit to your suffering. You just want to hear that somebody's going to change it for you.
Where's the relief?
Yeah, somebody
needs the relief.
But, you know, I said, look,
where's my pill? I had a pill.
I had to fake it till I made it. You know, like before I learned to care about myself, I had to intentionally try to be there for others, because, and then in that being there for others, I was able to learn that they're the same. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how different the circumstances on the surface, we all want the same shit. We all want to feel good. You know what I mean? We all want to be connected. Nobody wants to feel alienated. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to know that they're being heard in their deepest, darkest moments, and they want to know that they're not alone. Like, these are very basic human traits. And right now, I see humanity gravitating in a more positive direction, but we still got the powers that be that got people chipping away at each other. You know, but I do see people that weren't willing to listen a couple months ago, that are more willing to listen now to logic and had a talk. You know, had to talk instead of, but you know, social responsibility. I mean, we can't expect the corporations to do it for anything other than money.
There's more to life than the bottom line,
right?
You know,
right? When what's it going to take, you know, besides this for people to learn that?
Like, that's the number one thing. There's more to life than the motherfucking bottom line. You know, you can set up wealth and generational wealth and all that, but when you gotta go, you can't take none of that shit with you.
Look at this.
You know?
Yeah, look at this. I mean, it doesn't matter what generational wealth you have right now. If you get it and you're susceptible, you got it, you're done. You know?
I don't know. I believe that when our spiritual contract is up, it's up. And that's all there is to it. You know, I'm not going to live in fear while not knowing when it's up.
No.
You know, like, it's just,
because then you perpetuate it. That's all you do is so the universe is going to do what the universe does. You can't control the things that are out there. You can only control your response to them. If your if your response is fear, what you've done is validate that which is perceivably negative. You validated that as in the universe,
it's funny you say that. I think that's part of the problem is that no one can control this.
Right. And you can't.
They're
like, trying.
And you have a country full of control freaks.
Yeah.
And so all these control freaks are freaking out because they can't control what's going on, and they don't know what to do, and it's baffling their mind.
This is the only time I've seen Trump look human. Like he looks nervous, and he still goes into his Trumpisms. But there was this one reporter who was like going after him. She was all left. And look, both extremes are wrong. But she was using this as a gotcha moment, and I was actually, and I saw it in Trump's eyes. I'm like, oh. Like, there's the human in the guy. He don't know what the fuck to do.
You're a horrible reporter.
And, I might have swung back like that because at that point she was. Like, leave the guy alone, man. Like,
I don't do that. That's horrible. That's despicable.
I don't agree with anything he does, but there was another moment, too, because a lot of left-wing media people are using this as a gotcha moment. Because here's the thing, like you said, nobody can control this shit.
No.
Why are you going after the guy like he can? I responded to Schumer's.
And they want to blame. They want to blame him. Like, you weren't acting fast enough. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Like, it really doesn't matter now.
I got on Chuck Schumer on his Twitter. He sent this comment out. Trump, you better do this now. And I was like, look, man, I'm not a Trump supporter by any stretch of the imagination. But how do you say that this? I forget what it was now, but it was something that couldn't have possibly been only his fault. Like, dude, stop. Just fucking stop.
I wonder, would the media be this fucked up if it wasn't an election year?
Yes.
Yeah, it'd still be.
Oh, yeah. Trump has created a shitstorm, right? Like, he's in the media has fed into it, and look, this is the greatest con ever pulled in American history. Him as president, like, kudos, man. As a hustler, you did some shit. Like, that's an accomplishment that, but there's some real damage being done.
Yeah.
And now America's a fucking reality show. It's become a reality show. That's what it is. We're one big reality show. My son, who shouldn't be watching South Park, I caught him watching it the other day, and it was the episode where the aliens are about to cancel America as the biggest reality show ever, which meant destroying the planet. And I was like, there's some genius in that. There really is.
I was asking my dad, because my dad's like he's just a Democrat, solid Democrat, been his entire life, union dude, all that stuff. And every day he watches that damn fucking Trump press conference,
just fueling
he really, my dad will talk a lot of shit. But I asked him one time, like, this was probably like 2 weeks into the quarantine. I'm like, I just couldn't take it no more. I'm like, Dad, why are you watching this bullshit? And he's like, watching Trump reminds me of watching, like, the Real Housewives in New York.
It's what it is.
Like, he's like, it's great entertainment for me because it's just so fucked up.
Yeah. And it is entertaining. The shitty part is real damn. You know what? America is a great country because there are checks and balances, and he can't run wild as much as he'd like to.
I have total authority.
Right.
I have total authority.
And then the next day he's flip-flopping. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and shut this down. You know what I mean? No, you don't, man. So we are in an evolved country. This is the most evolved country because we've we're the youngest country, really, definitely the youngest superpower. But we're due for that. Every great empire has its collapse. And this may be that for us. There's nothing wrong with that.
America, the United States government is a baby government. It's only been around 200 years.
Right. We're infants.
It's still at its infancy stage.
And we are amalgamation of everything that came before us. Of all the different governments, we came into be this republic, and the ideas behind the republic are fucking phenomenal. Have we lived by that? Well, we have to a certain degree, but there's problems. Yeah. There's problems, and the problems are at the surface now in a way they've never been. And just going back to what we're talking about, social responsibility. When that gets put front and center, I think we found the solution, and that's why I was pro Bernie 100%. I think democratic socialism, not for all you fearmongers out there thinking socialism, but democratic socialism to where social programs are front and center in the agenda. I don't see how that's a bad thing. Like, if you have this much money, should it not go to the advancement of the people that are in the country?
If you had universal health care, the hospitals would not be hurting for money right now.
You know what's happening, which is crazy. So you'll hear the conspiracy theorists talk about, how big pharma will benefit from this and how the vaccine, who knows? But so Beaumont is laying off a bunch of people. Bunch of people. Why are they laying off a bunch of people during this time? When you know it's suffering, a profit-making machine. The elective surgeries, they can't do that now because now they have to deal with this fucking pandemic. So there goes your conspiracy theory on how this benefits big pharma, big medical, whatever you want to. Like, it doesn't. There's a real thing happening. They can't make the profit. I mean, car companies are being forced to make ventilators now. It's like we are no more, somewhat. Except the enemy is invisible. But it's not really invisible. You can see it.
And the funny thing is, I don't think shit's gonna go back to normal.
There's no normal. There was,
May 1st. It's gonna go back to normal.
Yeah, that's delusional. It's delusional. It's not. And I don't think we should want it to. I should think we should step back. If May things start to open up, we should do it with a greater sense of compassion. We like me at the bank today. Just wear this fucking mask, dude. So that guy in the car doesn't have to stress out.
Yeah.
Don't, you know what I mean? Just, am I worried about it? No, I'm not worried about it. But he is. So think about that. So now this goes with me. I'll put it on for show when I go into the bank.
You need a couple more. I got a couple more.
Yeah, I'll take them.
I bought a whole stash of them.
And the kid's mom has them too. She was she got fired. They couldn't use her. I mean, she's
laid off.
Yeah, you're done. She's in the medical field. Teeth.
Yeah, that's someone said that dentists are gonna have a real tough time.
Yeah, so
coming through and
at least she made it out with some masks. Yeah, so there's real. I know some people probably think I come across as glib. It's not that I don't understand suffering, and I'm there for people. I want to be there for people, but I think we got to take this with a different frame of reference, or else we're going to suffer. You don't have to suffer. Here's where you can take the pain, you can navigate past it. You don't have to suffer. Suffering's a choice. If say my business goes south tomorrow, that's going to happen tomorrow. Anything I do beyond that is going to be a choice that I make. So I don't see it happening. But if it did, I'm going to have to adjust to that.
I wish you could just sit everyone down and say, look, this is what's happening. The planet as a whole is shifting into another state of consciousness and into a higher dimensional frequency. Some things are going to be a little fucked up for a while. Buckle up. We might not really, through this transitional time, it's going to be probably painful because most transitional times are. But on the backside of this, when we get through it, you won't believe what's in store for you.
Well, and I think key words in there is we're all in this together.
Right.
I'm here for you in any way that I can be. I hope that you would be there for me. If you can't be, I understand, but that's what's not being said enough. It's I haven't heard anyone say in the government, we're there for you. I have, what I mean? Dave Coulter, he's from Unity. He's the Oakland County executive. And when he provides numbers, those numbers are real because he's the only politician I've met that gave me hope that you can be an honest, loving person, empathetic person, and still be a politician and rise to a level of power and still do things. And he's one of those people. So when I don't question anything that I see him put out there because I know his heart. You know what I mean?
The spiritual game was pretty tight before he became a politician.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. Like you can have the best intention for people, and you can rise to a level of power and still be that. You know what I mean? And so there are people out there that and I think it's probably more than what we're fed down our throat that really give a shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't make a lot of money doing that. You know, you still have to have it. Well, as a mayor of a city, you still have another job. A lot of them. You know what I mean? It's just something that you're doing for your community. Maybe it's en route to the next stuff. I don't know, but there are good people out there that are really scrambling right now to try to make us safe. But anyway, I think we pretty much got it. We got a minute. We got some comments that we'll get to later. We're hitting this on multiple tangents right now, but just be good to each other. You know, that's all I got. Be good to each other. If nothing else,
Everything is gonna be all right.
All right. That's the human condition. Thank you for tuning in. We'll get to all the comments later. Keep chiming in with your messages on subject matter, and we'll see you next time.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks, Dave.
No problem.